Welcome to Chapter 3, Management Systems. The beef industry is one of the most complex business models in the global economy. Success requires understanding resources, how they are interrelated, and how to manage them holistically. In this lecture, you'll cover the human, financial, land, and cattle resources, as well as strategies for leadership, planning, sustainability, and risk management. Management systems, sometimes called Integrated Resource Management or IRM or Holistic Resource Management HRM, focus on understanding available resources, recognizing how our resources are interrelated, and making decisions that integrate all components of the operation. The goal is to move beyond piecemeal decisions towards a whole system approach. Operations rely on many different resources: human capability, finances, land and livestock, technology and equipment. Each must be managed strategically with an awareness of how they all interact. 3.1 provides an overview of a manager's challenge to continuously focus on the development of the capability of key resources that include self, time, information, risk, and the enterprise-specific categories in the pursuit of a specific goal. Some resources are perpetual: sun, wind, and water. Others are non-renewable: fossil fuels and phosphates. And still others are renewable: air, water, fertile soil, plants, and animals. A manager must be knowledgeable about each type of resource if the goals are to be accomplished. Furthermore, maximum net profit may not always be the goal. Why is that? Working long or odd hours. However, a goal that approaches maximum net profit is often realistic for many beef operations. The human resource is the most important source of resource in a beef production. The industry relies on human creativity, leadership, and willpower. A successful manager must develop vision, goals, and mission statements. They must build strong relationships, and they must provide labor and decision making. People are led while resources are managed. The next two figures come from your textbook and show how human resources play into the cattle industry. This figure shows how we must balance our business outcomes with also healthy relationships with our family, employees, community, and customers. Leadership and management are distinct but are also complementary. Leadership inspires and sets direction. Management focuses on efficiency and smooth operation. Both are needed for short and long-term success. Effective managers will recognize when to lead and when to manage. Management strategies are listed below. Developing a mission statement and clear goals, setting priorities and allocating resources effectively, staying updated with industry advancements, using time efficiently, demonstrating integrity and honesty, implementing risk management strategies, and remaining profit-oriented. This figure comes from your textbook and it looks at the intersection of leadership and management. This figure demonstrates the importance of combining leadership and management so that high levels of performance can be obtained. This figure also comes from your textbook and it looks at the 80-20 rule of business that exists in each beef operation. Through this, we have to look at what we need to do. So 80% of your efforts are being expanded. These could be trivial or meaningless tasks or problems that we only get about 20% of the result for them taking up 80% of our time. However, our critical solutions or opportunities take up about 20% of our effort, but however, they're going to give us about 80% of our results. The managers of a beef cattle operation may be an owner-operator with only a minimal amount of additional labor or someone in charge of a complex organizational structure that involves multiple employees. An effective manager, whether involved in a one-person operation or a large complex one, needs to develop a written mission statement, identify and implement short, immediate, and long-term goals, as part of a written management plan. They must also set priorities and allocate resources, execute the plan systematically, and keep up to date with the current knowledge related to the enterprise and the beef industry. They should be time efficient, they should be self-motivated, and be able to incentivize the team members appropriately. They should practice self-management to assure peak performance and to model effective behaviors for the team. They should focus their attention on physical, emotional, and financial needs of oneself and those involved within the enterprise, whether that's employees or family members. They should communicate effectively with all employees and encourage a team approach to be successful. The development of an efficient organizational culture involves accountability to business outcomes in a supportive and value-driven environment. They should demonstrate integrity and conduct that is honest in business dealings. They should effectively implement risk management strategies. They should implement a management-informed system that gives timely and accurate feedback based on decisions. This should also be profit-oriented. By improving management and leadership skills, this will be a crucial investment with the potential to yield substantial returns. Each operator should be grounded in values, vision, and mission. Values are non-negotiable standards. A vision is a long-term picture that lists out 5 to 10-year goals, and a mission is the current purpose. What do we do, who do we serve, and how are we going to do it? Together, these will shape the cultures of our operations. Goals make the mission accountable. They should be few in number, they should be specific, they should be measurable, and they should be realistic. These could also be referred to as SMART goals. Written goals provide benchmarks to measure progress. Without written goals, improvement is unlikely. Goals help with resource allocation and prioritization. Questions to ask is, why should you limit the number of goals that you have, and why should they be specific, measurable, or reasonable? A follow-up question would be, what is one goal that you have for yourself in your operation or in your future operation, and does it fall under any of these listed guidelines? Humans. Effective communication skills are required for managers in order to utilize the human resource to the fullest extent. Human resources may come from family members or hired employees. In a family operation, we must provide clear communication, planning, and respect for relationships. Weekly meetings can help balance family and business needs. Through employees, they need clear expectations, regular feedback, recognition, and the opportunity to grow. By matching these skills to tasks that they are given, we will be able to increase our productivity. Businesses thrive with planning, productivity, communication, trust, and respect that are being prioritized. You should establish family rules and shared visions. Hold regular meetings for communication and problem solving. Spread out the responsibilities by appointing managers. I recognize that both family harmony and profitability is important. You should also include family members in financial decisions and incorporate their values and goals into strategic plans. Determine why they are successful and how they will resolve difficulties. Include all family members in a conversation where decision making is necessary, and also determine how everybody will be paid, how vacation and time away will be handled. Planning must be extended to succession and estate transferring. Succession planning identifies and trains the next generation of managers. Estate planning details the transfer of assets from one generation to the next. Without these, many businesses will not transfer from one generation to another. Families should develop a job list that allows them to prioritize tasks and allocate resources from their family appropriately. This could be done through establishing a monthly calendar where family members can share their part of the business and the family. Successful employees should communicate effectively with their employees, ensure that they tell their employees good job, share credit, match the person's ability with job assignments, and seek new ways for people to grow and learn. They should avoid micromanagement. They should also be able to manage themselves. They should recognize personal limits, balance physical and financial well-being, should manage stress, share successes and failures, and maintain problem-solving skills. They should practice a sense of humor and participate in the reduction of tension. Self-management will allow managers to sustain their operations for the long term. The planning process is the easiest broken down into 4 steps. Develop a written plan, take actions, evaluate the results, and repeat the process. Looking at the planning process, what are the beef industry's goals? Achieving low-cost production and increasing our consumer market share. Written plan questions that you should ask. What do I plan and want my cattle to do for me and for my customers? What are my cattle presently doing for me and my customers? What are their current levels of productivity and profitability? Are my cattle best matched to their environment? Is the biological type of cattle the emphasis of efficiency? Are they well integrated with the most economical combination of forage feeds, the market, labor, and other resources? This figure comes from your textbook and looks at how you should plan, act, and evaluate. As you work through this process, you should always be making changes to your plan, your actions, or your evaluation model. When looking at a family-owned business, you should have an heir or family that you will be passing this on to. Estate planning with your attorney is very important because it will help ensure the transfer of your assets to the one generation to the next with little hiccups. Time management figure comes from your textbook and looks at how you're able to write down your tasks and effectively manage your time by listing things that are important and urgent, important but not urgent, not important but urgent, or not important and not urgent at all. Self-management is important as one must understand their personal limitations. They need to develop risk management strategies, work as a team, improve their own problem-solving skill, and maintain their own physical health and well-being. It's important to take time each day to relax before you go home to leave behind the pressures of work and the challenging decisions that have yet to be made. Develop a sense of humor because of one's ability to laugh at yourself in a situation can relieve tension and enhance communication. Financial resources determine profitability. Managers must monitor cash flow, maintain control over their finances, use records like balance sheet, income sheets, and enterprise budgets. They must make informed loan and tax decisions, and they should have sound financial management as a backbone of the sustainability of their operation. Key financial records include cash transaction, balance sheet, income statements, cash flow statements, enterprise budgets, partial budgets, and tax reports. These records allow managers to measure net income, return on investment, and profitability. This slide will be used in future classes. However, it looks at net income and how we are able to determine our costs and savings at the end of the year. Land and feed are two of the most significant resources within the beef industry. Success depends on matching cattle types with our available feed resources. The goal is to use the most economical product to maximize the pounds of beef while sustaining our land resources. Land use must consider both production and conservation. Cattle themselves are also resources. Producers want cattle that are both productive and profitable. Productivity and profitability will usually align. Cattle that grow well and reproduce well are the most profitable. Evaluation focuses on reproduction, growth, and carcass quality. Identification systems are increasingly important. They provide access to international markets, enhance consumer confidence, allow health monitoring and disease surveillance, and they also provide a traceback ability in cases of food safety failures. Systems that could be used are tags, brands, tattoos, or electronic identification. Equipment and inputs have significant fixed costs like depreciation, interest, tax, and insurance or storage. Producers must decide between buying new, leasing, custom hiring, or joint ownership. Cost control is essential because input costs can fluctuate dramatically. Many variables influence cattle production, including forage production, market alternatives, energy costs, debt structure, breed types, environmental conditions, feed and labor costs, management competitiveness. The focus should always be on optimizing production, not simply maximizing. This figure comes from your textbook and shows the different enterprises available: seed stock, cow-calf, feeder, packer, distribution, and consumer. Optimization means balancing variables for the best possible outcome. Maximum and minimums are not always sustainable. The optimum level of production is the most profitable, even if it's not the absolute highest. The principle ensures our long-term success. Producers are able to sell pounds in various ways: weaned calves, yearlings, fed cows, carcasses. Consumer preferences will determine the palatability of lean beef. It can also be considerable traits for the amount of fatness in beef cattle. Sustainability rests on three pillars: our ecosystems, economies, and communities. Stockmanship applies skills and knowledge to one's good livestock care. Stewardship means managing resources responsibly. Decision making must consider values, economics, and resource health. Stock management requires the ability to deal with the intertwined nature of humans, resources, animals, markets. We also look at commodities, supply chains, and public policy. The triple bottom line of sustainability is based on these three columns. Risk management is about anticipating and preparing for challenges such as weather, changes in cattle pricing, fluctuating input costs, equipment breakdown, regulatory changes, disease outbreaks, and labor shortages. The goal is not to eliminate risk, but to reduce its impact.